Welcome, Chamber members, to our second virtual Business Exchange Luncheon. Want to make sure, hopefully, that you have been out and either picked up your lunch from one of our restaurants, or you're actually going to have it delivered to you very shortly. But in any case, we hope that you're ready to settle in for a very informative hour for our luncheon. We've got a lot to share with you today. So we want to start off this afternoon by asking our Mayor Dowling Watford, to do our invocation for the luncheon. So, Mayor.
Good afternoon. Let us pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we're come to you with grateful hearts, grateful for the many blessings you allow us to enjoy. We thank you for your goodness and your grace. As we come together today, we have many cares, concerns, and we pray that you would meet each of those. We especially pray for our country during this difficult time. We pray that you would be with each person that's been affected by the virus, that you would be with them, and the ones that have contracted the virus, that you would give them healing. We pray that for peace and unity within our country. And as we come together today as a chamber, we thank you for each chamber member. We thank you for each business and for what they do to make Okeechobee the great community that it is. We pray that you would be with us throughout this meeting, give us guidance and direction. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Dowling. We are thrilled to have with us CenterState Bank today as our premier sponsor of our luncheon. We're so thankful for our businesses that step up to the plate and they're able to support us at our events by being sponsored. We always appreciate our sponsors, absolutely. And during these uncertain times, it's even more important so that we're encouraging each other and we're showing that we're all working together to be successful. So thank you again, CenterState Bank. But right now, we'd like to have a word from our sponsor, Tabitha Trent, Vice President, Branch Manager, CenterState Bank.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's virtual chamber luncheon brought to you by CenterState Bank. As the manager and vice president of the local Okeechobee branch, I'm honored to share our excitement of two highly successful companies coming together to make one amazing bank partnership. In addition, we'll be hosting a much needed informational session on SBA's PPP Loan Forgiveness process. So without further ado, let's tune in to bank CEOs John Corbett and Robert Hill.
Hi, I'm Robert Hill with South State Bank.
And I'm John Corbett with CenterState Bank.
We're excited to announce we have the unique opportunity to come together and to create something new. Over the past decade, John and I have had a close relationship, and our banks have been on a similar path. We've each hired talented bankers, entered some fast-growing markets, and are making significant technology investments. We believe our unique partnership positions us to offer so much more.
For more than 100 years, we've been providing financial solutions to individuals, families, and businesses. We share the same values of relationship banking and investing in the communities we serve. It's the commitment to these values that made us the strong and successful companies we are today, and these values will guide us in the future.
The future is very bright and will bring a new level of digital convenience to our clients, while at the same time strengthening the personal relationships that define us. It's a future that both of our teams are excited to create.
Our name will be South State. Together, we are building an even greater company for our team members, our customers, and our communities that is trusted, committed, and banking forward.
Thank you, Tabitha. And now I want to take a moment just to thank our Chamber board members for all their hard work and their dedication, not only to the Chamber, but to our businesses and to our community as a whole. Just recently, you may have seen a lot of the videos that each of them have done, and they were sharing their concerns for our businesses and for our communities. Each and every part of what they were saying was all heartfelt for our businesses, and they are so dedicated, and I really do thank them for being great board members. Couldn't do everything that we do without our many Chamber ambassadors as well. They play such an important part in giving personal value to our members through the public relations, through social networking, through assisting the Chamber in maintaining the current memberships that we have, and looking to build new relationships and bringing in new members to us. So thank you to each and every one of you. I also want to thank our Platinum partners who each and every year continue to support us in our endeavors because they share in our commitment to our businesses and to our community. They're looking for us to continually grow. We're excited that we've had one more Platinum partner to join the Chamber this month, and that is Regions Bank. So thank you, Regions Bank, for joining our other Platinum partners in helping us to continue our mission of connecting business and community for economic success and prosperity. And many of you right now may not have been able to get a copy of our new 2020 guide that was out early in January. And of course, with everything happening, totally understand. But we have plenty of guides here. If you would like to stop by and pick up a box or several for your business, please do so. Just give us a call. We'll make sure that we set some aside for you. We really want to get them out there and make sure that we're advertising, especially our members and any of our businesses that advertise in them as well. So thank you for that. Just give us that call. And our pro team of publishers are back. Passport Publications, our only authorized publishing company, will soon be checking in our businesses to see how they can help best you advertise in our upcoming 2021 Chamber Guide. So we're looking forward to that. We've got a lot of new items and articles that we're going to be putting into this, so it really is going to be interesting. And Janice Waterman did such a fantastic job from Passport Publications last year, and she is looking forward and she is ready to go. We've had several new members to join the Chamber since our main luncheon, and I'd like to recognize each of them at this time. We have Healthy Start Coalition, we have Okeechobee Airboat Rides, Professional Services, Inc., Okeechobee Missionary Baptist Church, Vet Foam Solutions, and Regions Bank. So thank you to our new members for joining. We had our second virtual business after hours last month. It was a journey home, and that was with guardian ad litem and 4 kids treasure coast. If you missed it, you missed something that was very heartwarming and really helped you to understand the plight of our foster children in our community and elsewhere. So please, you can always go to the Chamber YouTube channel and view it. You will be impressed with what you see. Our next virtual business after hours will be this month, Tuesday, August the 25th, and that is going to be showcasing custom adventures, including even sunset tours, and that is going to be with Captain John's Guide Service. And John Campbell will share his knowledge of the lake, its history, the wildlife, the flora and the fauna, and the amazing photography opportunities that may await you out there as well. So make this your special occasion day, a special evening that you want to take, or just a time to get away. It's something that you will thoroughly enjoy. Mariah and I had a fantastic time doing this. So it will start at 5 as normal on the 25th, and it will give you the tour of the lake in all of its beauty. So don't miss out on this event. Make sure that you sign up for it online. And now Mariah has some fantastic new news that she wants to share with us. So I'm excited to have her share with you what she has.
Thank you, Paulette. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be introducing the Chamber's new Amped Up Marketing Program. This new program is going to allow for Chamber staff to personally take on a handful of members each quarter and overhaul or amp up their digital marketing. The first option I want to call your attention to is our branding workshop. This is a short 2-hour session with Chamber staff to review the branding you may already have in place or to start from scratch. Our other amped up products are monthly packages. Depending on the one you choose, we'll be setting up, updating, and establishing consistent posts that match your branding. We can also update your Chamber web portal to match this. Our goal with this program really is to set your company on the right track with digital marketing and to improve your SEO. Also, gain new customers. Who doesn't like that? For questions or to apply for this program, you can call the office, and of course that is 3-467-6246. Today, I also get the pleasure of reminding everyone about our Google workshop. I ran across this quote, and I think it's perfect for our class. educating yourself does not mean that you are stupid in the first place. It means that you are intelligent enough to know that there's plenty left to learn. I feel like this is really a quote for my life. The more that I take classes on digital marketing or social media marketing, the more I learn. And sometimes it's not even something completely new. Sometimes it's a new way to go about things that's going to shorten the time that I'm taking to do something, or something that's going to reach more customers, or optimize what I'm doing. And anything that can make my day easier and more efficient, I'm all about. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with the Google Workshop. We have a variety of different ones for different skill levels. The one that we did this morning, our Connect Customers and Manage Your Business Remotely, that's a class that anyone can take advantage of. It is a beginner to intermediate class, so no matter where you're at in your digital marketing, this is the class for you. This is going to teach us how to interact with our customers, stay in communication with them, even when we're not seeing them face to face, and keep their interest in our business. The business working your business remotely section of the class is more about using webinars, making sure that we have the documents that we need through Google Drive, and being able to send information to our other colleagues, to our customers, to our clients, whoever we need to send things to, that we're getting that done efficiently. And so that's kind of the overview of the class that we did this morning. And as an added bonus for watching this lunch today, we are giving you until 4 o'clock to sign up for that lunch or that workshop, and we will send you the recording of it. Typically, that's not something that we do. We do the class live, and you're there so that I can answer questions and work through the process with you. But for this special occasion, and because I feel like this class is so important, we did record it, and that will be available to anyone who wants. You do still need to sign up so that I have a way to send it to you, but it is free, and all of our Google classes are free and will remain so. On the 20th of August, we have Google Digital Skills for Everyday Tasks. This is a little bit of an open class as well. This is for absolutely any skills level. We will start with how to open the document, and we'll end with all of the really neat things that you can do with it, and how much more efficient this is going to make your day. And that's on the 20th. And then on the 25th, we will do Collaborate, Meet, and Work with Google. This is a little bit more of an experience level class. So that intermediate to experienced digital tech world type of class. And so I would love to see beginners at some of my other classes, but this one is not for you. Intermediate, experience. If you think you already know everything about Google, allow me to challenge that for you. And that class will be on the 25th. All of these classes can be signed up for free of charge on the Chamber website, so www.okeechobeebusiness.com. Thank you for allowing me to share the exciting news that's happening at Chamber, and back to you, Paulette.
We also have some other exciting news that we're going to be able to share about the Florida Trail Association and how we're forging with them for the betterment of the trail itself, and especially for Okeechobee, for our community. So it's not only going to bring more awareness about the trail, but it's also going to bring it to Okeechobee and to the many businesses that we have that we represented. And those that are visiting the trail, they're going to have information to know which businesses have special promotions out there. So hopefully this is going to be drawing them in. This is, of course, the intent is bringing those in from the trail back into our community so that they will shop, spend the night, maybe come back for a vacation, later on. But if you're interested in having your business to participate and you haven't already participated previously, please give us a call. We'll make sure that we get everything set up for you so that you can put your name and add your name to the list. But I would like to thank those that have already signed up for this. We have Tin Fish of Okeechobee. We have Parrot Island Grill. We have Brown Cow Sweetery. We have Nutmeg Cafe, The Country Boutique, Rustic Style Furniture, Home Decor and Gift Shop. We have Brennan Eye Care, Log Harbor Condominium Association, Days Inn and Suites by Wyndham Lake Okeechobee, and Okeechobee Resort KOA. So be sure and check out the website for more information. There will be a lot that you'll see out there. And that website is www.floridatrail.org/Okeechobee/. Now for our special guest speaker today, Josh Harris. Josh graduated in 2001, in fact, from UCF with a bachelor's degree in accounting. And after 3 years in public accounting, he started his career in banking, where he has filled roles as a commercial credit analyst, a commercial banker, business banker, an SBA lender, and most recently as a credit administrator. Josh and his wife of 20 years, Misha, have 2 teenage boys. We have Jackson that is 16 and Hudson 14. And when they're not working, their family is certainly can typically be found out on the ball field, the golf course, or actually fishing. And I'm wondering if they're fishing Lake Okeechobee as well. We'll make sure to ask Josh that. So right now, we will have Josh to come up and talk with us. Josh?
Well, good afternoon. I appreciate the gracious introduction. My goal today, as was stated earlier, is to provide everyone on this webinar with an overview of the CARES Act and the related PPP loan program, also known as the Payment Protection Program. So what we're going to do this afternoon is go through a series of slides, and I'm going to highlight not all the minutia of this program, because it can get pretty involved. But what I am trying to do is provide everyone with a high-level overview of those points that I think will be most relevant to you. I'm also going to go into the forgiveness application process as well. So we go to the next slide. Here I am. I just wanted to introduce myself. I've been on the Treasure Coast for quite a while. I have experience in commercial loan underwriting, commercial lending, business banking, SBA lending, and small business consulting. And I'm currently a credit administrator for CenterState Bank. So that's, if you don't know what that is, most people don't, that's someone who partners with the relationship managers to structure deals and provide a final loan decision. Today, we're going to be going through, again, PPP Loan Basics. We're also going to be reviewing the different PPP loan calculations by entity type. And that's something that everyone needs to understand. That the type of entity applying has a significant impact on the method of loan calculation. We're also going to be discussing how to maximize your loan forgiveness, and then we'll review some quick warnings as well as present you with some resources. So diving into this presentation, like I said, we're going to cover some loan basics. So the first thing you need to understand is that the purpose of this program is to help businesses maintain employment levels, not to pad the business owner's wallet. So maybe that goes without saying, but the sole premise of this program is to allow employers to maintain their employee count and compensation. That's the primary driver. So we have to be careful. A lot of times when folks hear about this program, they think free money, and they potentially think that there's a windfall opportunity here. But if executed in the way that was intended, that will not happen. The sole focus is to help local businesses maintain their employment levels. This program, as of the date of this seminar, may have expired. However, we believe that it will be extended. So it's currently set to expire August 8th of 2020, but again, likely will be extended. Another important thing for you to understand is eligibility. That's one of the key criteria, and you need to understand that this program is basically a subset of the SBA 7A program. And so there's a lot of overlap. We can't say exact, but it is a significant amount of overlap. So the first thing that you need to understand is that your business must have been around, must have existed and had employees prior to 2/15/2020. And you must meet standard SBA 7(a) eligibility requirements. I've listed those below, but this is by no means exhaustive. However, these are some of the big, more significant items that I would encourage you to be aware of. So first off, it should be an operating business. And by operating, we mean not a speculative business, not an investment business, or a passive business. This will preclude most landlords from applying for PPP loan proceeds. The business must be located in the U.S., its territories or possessions, and the business must be small. Now, this is something that can get pretty complicated if you actually dive into the SBA regulations, but I think one of the easiest ways to do it is to use the SBA's alternative size standard. And what that is, or what that states, is that in order to be small, the business must have a tangible net worth of less than or equal to $5 million, and an average net profit after federal taxes of less than or equal to $15 million. Now, in standard 7(a) eligibility, nonprofits are not eligible. However, with the PPP program, nonprofits, including churches, are eligible. And then lastly, something that needs to be clear is that sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, partnerships, LLCs, S-corps, C-corps are all eligible entity types. Now, another important factor for folks to know is the loan calculation methodology. So it's actually quite simple or straightforward once you understand, but the calculation itself is based solely and entirely on your average monthly payroll during 2019 or the rolling 12 months up through your application date. And the maximum loan amount is 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. So running quick numbers, if you have an average or if you have annual payroll in 2019 of, let's say, $500,000, you would take that and divide by 12, which gives you an average monthly payroll of $41,666. You then multiply that by 2.5, which gives you a PPP loan amount of roughly $104,000. So I know I ran through that pretty quickly, but if you remember 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, that's the foundation of your PPP loan calculation. You might also be interested to understand the loan caps. PPP loans can be quite large. They're capped at $10 million. And it's important to understand that those over $2 million will be audited. The SBA has been very clear about that those above $2 million will definitely receive an audit. Another important thing for you to understand is the salary cap. So no one individual can comprise more than $100,000 on an annualized basis of the final PPP loan amount. So maybe that's a little bit confusing to understand, but what we're basically saying is that the loan amount is capped at an annualized amount of $100,000 per employee. And so I've given you an example here. If you have someone earning $120,000, you would have to subtract $20,000 from that compensation to bring it down to the $100,000 cap. You would then divide by 12 and multiply by 2.5, which gives you a maximum loan per person of $20,833. Another important thing that everyone should be aware of is that 1099 payments, and these are payments to independent contractors, the loan cannot be based on 1099 payments. Independent contractors actually can apply for their own PPP loan. And then eligible uses. The PPP loan can be used for payroll expenses, rent or lease on real or personal property, mortgage interest, and utilities. So these are very basic elements of the PPP loan program, but they're very important for you to understand. As we continue through these PPP loan basics, it's also important to understand the repayment. So one of the benefits of this program is that it provides full payment deferral through your covered period and 10 months afterwards. So what this means is no payments of principal or interest during the entire deferral period. After the termination or after the conclusion of your full deferral period, you will have a 5-year loan term at a 1% interest rate. And that, of course, applies to whatever portion of your loan is not forgiven. Another important factor for you to understand is what's called the covered period. So once your PPP loan has funded, you will have 24 weeks to expend these funds. However, you may apply for forgiveness upon exhausting the PPP funds. There's really no need to wait until the end of the full 24-week period. So that's another big question we get frequently is, hey, I've got a 24-week period to spend these funds. Do I have to wait until the end of that 24-week period to apply for forgiveness? The answer is no. You can apply as soon as you've exhausted those funds. And then we're kind of nearing the end of this PPP Loan Basics discussion, the forgiveness period or the forgiveness application. So in order to attain full forgiveness, and of course that's everyone's goal, is to have the full amount of your PPP loan forgiven. In order to accomplish that objective, you must do two things. First, you must spend at least 60% of the loan proceeds on payroll-related expenses. So these expenses need to be specific to payroll. So that would include health insurance and retirement benefits, but that's a ratio that you need to be keenly aware of, because if you don't reach that 60% threshold, your forgiveness amount will likely be cut back. Then you also must maintain your employment and compensation levels. So that would be your full-time employee count or your full-time equivalent employee count, and the salary or hourly compensation that you provide to your employees. So those are two of the most basic things that everyone needs to understand when you apply for forgiveness. In order to attain maximum forgiveness, you need to spend at least 60% of the loan proceeds on payroll-related expenses, and you need to maintain your employment and compensation levels. Now, we're going to transition here to discuss specifically how the calculation works for different types of applicants, meaning different types of entity types. And so one of the most basic types would be a 1099 contractor. And the reason we highlight this is because, as I alluded to before, your loan amount cannot include payments to 1099 independent contractors. And that's because 1099 contractors can apply for their own PPP loan. So if you are one of these 1099 contractors, your PPP loan is based upon the sum of your income earned through your freelance work, as reported on the 2019 1099 miscellaneous forms that you received. And again, subject to the maximum of $100,000 on an annualized basis per individual. And so in order to apply, you must have your 2019 1099 miss forms on hand. So that's pretty straightforward. It should be a pretty easy application, and you should be able to get a pretty quick answer. The next type of borrower we're going to discuss are sole proprietors or self-employed individuals. So in this scenario, the PPP loan is based on your 2019 net profit. Again, a max of $100,000 on an annualized basis, as reported on your Schedule C, line 31, plus anything that you paid to your own employees. So that would be their salaries, wages, commissions, tips, state and local payroll taxes. And again, each employee is capped at $100,000 annually on an annualized basis. So what I would leave you with here is that in order to successfully apply for a PPP loan as a sole proprietor or self-employed individual, you must provide your 2019 Schedule C in a final draft, a final version that you've already filed with the IRS, or at a minimum, a draft version that you will be providing to the IRS. So in summary, for a sole proprietor or self-employed individual, your loan is going to be based on your 2019 net profit, and as well as anything that you paid to any employees that you have. Partnerships is a little bit different. The PPP loan is based upon your 2019 self-employment earnings as reported on your Schedule K1, line 14. This amount is then multiplied by 0.9235, and that's to account for self-employment taxes. you may include K-1 earnings as salary for each partner up to $100,000, plus any compensation to United States-based employees. So that would be their salaries, wages, again, commissions, tips, and state and local payroll taxes. And again, you see this cap of $100,000. With S-Corps, we do have a little bit of a nuance as well. The PPP loan is based on your salary as reported through a payroll service with a max of $100,000. Your salary may only be considered if it was paid through payroll while remitting payroll tax. And then you would also include anything that you pay to your US-based employees, their salaries, wages, commissions, tips, state and local payroll taxes, and again, subject to the $100,000 cap annually. So what we really need to be clear here about is the fact that S-Corps, the rules for S-Corps preclude you from basing your loan amount on pass-through income or distributions. What that means is if you didn't pay yourself, you will not be eligible as an S-Corp for a PPP loan based on the owner-employee income. So said differently, the only way for the owner-employees of an S-Corp to be able to get some type of credit in the PPP loan for their own compensation is if they in fact paid themselves W-2 wages. So hopefully I didn't confuse anybody there, but a lot of folks have wondered saying, hey, I don't pay myself through my S-Corp, I pay myself through distributions or what have you. Those distributions or pass-through income will not be eligible to be included in your PPP loan calculation. C corporations are similar. It would, again, per person's capped at $100,000. Your salary will only be considered if it was paid through payroll while remitting payroll taxes. And then, again, that would be, you take the owner employees plus anything that was paid to your US-based employees. So for the most part, that is the blitz through the PPP loan program, the basics of how to apply for the loan, what the loan calculation is going to look like, and some of the hurdles that you have to jump through. The real question is, once you receive the PPP loan, your next focus is, hey, how do I attain maximum forgiveness? And so on the next slides, my goal is to really hopefully provide some pointers for you that will take some of the mystery out of this. So the first thing, as you can see here, bullet number 1, documentation, documentation, documentation. This is a documentation, paper-heavy, audit-style process. What you'll find is that if you apply for a PPP loan, the amount of documentation you have to provide is fairly limited, and the process is generally pretty quick and painless and easy. When you get to the forgiveness process, however, it is a very onerous, laborious, time-intensive process. And I don't say that to discourage anyone from applying for the program. I say that to set expectations and hopefully put you in a position to efficiently and easily apply for forgiveness and accomplish the maximum forgiveness when the time comes. So some tips I would provide for you. Name your electronic files in a consistent manner so they're easy to sort and search. So there's going to be 50, 60, 70 documents that you'll probably need to save to prove where you spent your PPP funds. It will include everything from invoices to canceled checks. And in general, what you have to imagine that you're doing is creating an audit work paper file so that you can cover your back in the event that anyone was to ever come back and audit your PPP loan and forgiveness request. So again, one of the easiest things you can do is come up with a very standardized naming structure for your electronic files. One example might be to name each file by the line of the forgiveness application, as well as the corresponding date of the document. So Whatever option you choose, this is something I think will have a big impact on just helping you stay organized and also helping your banker stay organized as they review your electronic files. Another key tip is to make sure that you deposit your PPP loan proceeds into a separate checking account. And the reason this is important is because if you deposit your PPP loan proceeds into a separate checking account, you'll be able to provide bank statements of that checking account, and every transaction out of that checking account will be prima facie evidence of where you spent those funds. So this would just dramatically simplify your tracking work as you apply for forgiveness. So I think that's something I wish I had told more of my customers to do this up front. It wasn't until after we kind of got through the process where I realized the wisdom of this recommendation. So if you get your PPP loan, deposit the loan into a new separate checking account so that it will really help streamline and simplify your tracking work. Next, keep records of anyone who refuses to return to work or who voluntarily resigns. Examples of this evidence or this documentation would be text chains, email chains, letters, etc. And this will allow you to take advantage of any safe harbors that the SBA has provided. So in order to maintain or accomplish maximum forgiveness, one of the primary goals is to see that you do not reduce the number of employees or the compensation to those employees. However, if you have evidence that they voluntarily chose to resign or that they refuse to return to work, this gives you what's called a safe harbor that will allow you to still accomplish maximum forgiveness. And then lastly here, each expense needs to be supported by at least 2 documents. So the first document would be evidence that the expense existed prior to 2/15/2020. A second would be just evidence of the legitimacy of the expense. And then a third would be evidence that you actually paid the expense. So 2 or 3 documents for each expense that you claim. Like I said, evidence that the expense existed prior to 2/15, evidence that the expense is legitimate, and evidence that the expense was actually paid. Now, when you apply for forgiveness, there's 2 forms that you need to be aware of. The first is the form 3508, and the other is like it, but it's called the 3508EZ. These are both multi-page applications with supporting multi-page instructions. And I guess one of the key recommendations I have here for you is if you're in the process of applying for a PPP loan, or if you are in the process of getting ready for the forgiveness phase, you really need to become intimately familiar with these applications and their supporting instructions. There's a lot of good information on them. It's not necessarily easy to extract and easy to apply, but that's all the more reason to dive into it, read them, understand them, and start coming up with your questions that you can review with your CPA, attorney, and banker. Now, ideally, you'll be able to use the 3508EZ, as the name indicates. This is a little bit of a simplified form that may make your life a little easier in the event that you're able to use it. And the way that you test whether you can use this form is by looking at page 1 of the supporting instructions for the 3508EZ. At the top of that page of the instructions, you'll see 3 boxes. And if you can check one of these 3 boxes, you will be eligible to use the 3508EZ. So the first box would be the box that says, look, I'm a sole proprietor, independent contractor, or self-employed individual with no employees. If that's the case, you automatically qualify for the 3508EZ. Alternatively, if you can check the box that says, hey, I didn't reduce any salaries or wages by more than 25%, and I had no reduction to the number of my FTEs. If you can check that box, you're also eligible for the 3508EZ. And then lastly, if you didn't reduce salary or wages by more than 25%, and you can take advantage of a safe harbor. So this would be a situation where you didn't reduce salaries or wages, but you were unable to maintain FTEs due to no cause of your own. This could have been because people voluntarily left and refused to return to work, or it could be because your business was adversely affected by a government agency like OSHA or the CDC, basically putting you in a predicament where you could not open for business, or were only able to open on a severely limited basis. So this would be a situation where you did not reduce salaries or wages, but you did lose some people, and it was primarily because of no fault of your own. So you may be eligible for one of the safe harbors. If you can check that box, you can then use the 3508EZ. Now, some folks may be wondering how to apply, and the answer is pretty simple. You apply directly with your local bank, and I would encourage you to use whichever bank you do your day-to-day banking with. They'll be the most motivated and the most equipped to help you apply for your forgiveness, or to apply for the loan as well as for your forgiveness. To apply for a PPP loan, you fill out SBA Form 2483, and you supply evidence of your 2019 payroll costs or the 12-month rolling payroll costs up to your application date. Examples of what you'll provide would be a payroll summary report from your payroll service provider, or 4 consecutive quarterly payroll reports, and typically for most borrowers that'd be a Form 941. To apply for forgiveness, you would also work with the originating bank. So whoever originates the PPP loan for you will also be the bank that facilitates the forgiveness request for you. You will do this by supplying your 3508 form or the 3508EZ, as well as a full documentation package. It's important to understand that some applications, depending upon the financial institution, will be manual or paper-based. Others will be electronic, where you may receive an invitation to navigate to an online portal and fill out your application and upload all your supporting documents there. Now, as I wrap up here, I do want to provide a couple warnings. First off, I would encourage you, do not apply for a PPP loan if you're in the process of a pending merger or acquisition. Doing so could really throw a monkey wrench in your M&A plans. And just as a brief example, the M&A could require SBA approval. So this is something that we're getting lots of questions on. It's frankly quite interesting to see how many people are in the middle of an M&A transaction. But this is really proving to be something that is causing a wrinkle in the process. So I would encourage you, if you're in the process of a pending M&A, do not apply for the PPP loan. Also, I've mentioned this earlier, but the SBA has basically promised or committed to audit all those PPP loans over $2 million. So clearly, if you are one of those folks with a $2 million or greater PPP loan, you have to be very careful to make sure you have a tight and crisp audit file. But they also reserve the right to audit any and all regardless of loan amount. So I would say to those below $2 million, you still want to be very cognizant of the fact that, hey, I need to maintain a good quality package with all supporting documentation. And then lastly, I want to remind everybody that the responsibility falls on you as the applicant and your advisors to determine whether you're eligible for the program and whether you provided appropriate documentation and an accurate calculation. I say this because the bankers, for the most part, are operating primarily as facilitators. We're collecting the documentation. We're doing a brief review to just try to make sure there's no fraud or abuse. We're trying to make sure that the documentation package is supportive of the requests. And then we're looking at the application. We're making sure that the borrower, the applicant, has provided the necessary certifications and that the calculations on the application appear to be correct. But beyond that, the onus, the responsibility truly falls on the borrower, the applicant, to make sure that they know whether they're eligible, that they've performed the calculations correctly, and that they've provided the appropriate supporting documentation. I wanted to point you to some resources. The first place I would point you is our own CenterState Bank website, and I provided that web address here. We have a lot of good information there, as well as links to some webinars that we've put on that go into this topic in more depth. We also have the Treasury website. This is where I go most frequently when I'm trying to bring myself up to speed on any changes to the program. At this website, specifically this Assistance for Small Business page, you will find the most current SBA FAQ, which may be more than you want to know, or if you just really like to know the details, that document might help you understand the program a little better. You also will find links to all the interim final rules that have amended the original CARES Act. You'll also find links to both the PPP loan application as well as the forgiveness application and the supporting instructions. And then another website, I'm not related to these folks at all, and neither is the bank, but I've found their blog post and their website post pretty useful and easy to understand, is the Bench website, which is www.bench.co. This is a bookkeeping service, and they've done a very good job. It's primarily marketing efforts on their part, but what they've done is created a lot of easy to understand content directing people on the PPP loan and forgiveness process. So as we wrap up here, I've been going for about 30 minutes, and I hope that I was able to give you information that's useful and beneficial to your day-to-day lives, and specifically to this PPP program and the forgiveness process. But I want to just wrap up by stating that this program is absolutely a good opportunity to access working capital to help you sustain your employees and your employee count and your compensation levels. And honestly, obtaining the loan is actually fairly easy and quick, but it is not free money, meaning the forgiveness process is onerous and time consuming. So while the loan proceeds have a high degree of likelihood of being forgiven, so long as you meet the various criteria, so long as you spend the money where you're supposed to spend it, so long as you maintain the proper documentation, so long as you maintain your employee counts, and so long as you spend at least 60% on payroll related costs. So if you kind of check those boxes, yes, it will be forgiven, but you need to understand this is not free money. The forgiveness process is onerous and time consuming and heavy on the documentation. And if you've ever tried to read the application, as I did yesterday, you'll realize there's a lot of nuance, a lot of fuzziness, a lot of gray, and it's not really easy to apply. So you will likely, you may be well advised to plan on spending some money with your CPA, or your tax professional, to help you fill this thing out and help you build your documentation package and fill out the forgiveness application. So that concludes my presentation for today. I again appreciate the opportunity to present to this group. I do hope that you found this useful and beneficial to you, and best of luck as you navigate these really tumultuous times out there. It's not easy to be in business in this environment, and so my hat's off to you just for your resilience, and my hat's off to you for just the service and the good that you provide to your community. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thank you, Josh, for all that great information. We're certainly glad that you were able to come and talk with us about the PPP loans and the process to follow for any of the forgiveness of these loans. It's very important that we all understand it, make sure that we have the right forms and the right information to send in as we're asked. So you provided a good tool for us to be able to use. So just so that you know, for anyone that is watching, you can always go back and watch this presentation again, just for any clarification that you may need. So I'd like to thank everyone that attended the luncheon today, virtual as it is, and we hope to be able to get back face to face as soon as possible. It's really kind of weird just having kind of a studio set up in my office here, So we want to get out and be able to see everybody, talk, interact, and do a lot of that networking that we certainly miss. So we are working hard right now on our luncheon, next luncheon, which is going to be in January 2021. And that is going to consist of our Business of the Year luncheon, which normally is in October, but we're moving it forward a little bit, as well as at that luncheon, we're going to have a very special recognition time. So you don't want to miss this. And as we get closer to the time, we're certainly going to keep you informed as we're making the plans. We'll let you know everything that we're doing so that you'll be excited as we are about the luncheon. So we just need to continue to work really hard so that the end goals that we've talked about, we want to make sure that we're seeing them, that we're achieving them, and that we're really going just beyond. We're all in this together, as we've said. Each of us are working hard. I don't know that any of us thought that this would continue for as long as it has, but we can do this. Our businesses are the lifeblood of our community. I've said it over and over again, and it's so true. But with every single one of us working together, we can be successful. We just need to look out for each other. So thank you for being a part of our luncheon today. Thank you for listening in. And we hope that everything goes well for you. But normally this is also the time when anyone would put in any information or stand up and say that you have an announcement that you'd like to make. So if you would, anything that is pertinent to our businesses, to our community that you want us to be aware of and to know, please send us an email at info@okeechobeebusiness.com, or you can call us 467-6246, and we'll make sure that we get it out to our community and to our businesses as a whole. So again, thank you. I hope that you have a blessed rest of the day and a great rest of the week. So thanks again. Have a good one.